Hello, Rebels. Garrett Robinson here, independent author of the Realm Keeper series, the upcoming novel Rebel Yell, which releases on August 15th, 13 days away. The Touch Trilogy, Non-Zombie, The Ninja Man, and currently the fantasy adventure serial Nightblade. A new episode releases every Friday at noon. And since it's Saturday, that means that an episode released yesterday at noon. So that's exciting. Yes, Nightblade episode 3 came out on Amazon and Kobo and other platforms. No, not other platforms yet, because the other platforms take so effing long to publish. But you can get it. So this is my show, VlogaNovel. I live create my books on this show. Everything from the outlining process to writing the first draft, editing, cover design, and publication all happens on live streaming video for you to witness. It's a behind-the-scenes look. It gives you insight into the characters and the world that will never make it into the finished product. It's kind of like DVD extras for a book series. So whether you're a writer who wants to see somebody else's process or a reader who's interested in the book and wants to know more about the story, I hope that you will find this enjoyable. So I am doing audiobook narration for episode 3 today. That's always the last thing that I do. It also serves as sort of a final copy edit, because when I'm reading through, there's usually a couple little things that I'll change. Minor things like a tiny grammar, whatever, just ways to word things differently. But yeah, it's going to happen live. And if you are watching, one thing to note, which I've had somebody comment on before, is that if you're watching the YouTube video, you might be thinking, boy, this doesn't sound audiobook quality, and that's because it's not. Pushing it to live streaming video, the audio quality sounds kind of, if you're watching live on the YouTube channel. However, I'm also simultaneously recording on my computer in a very nice, high-quality audio program, which then I mix and enhance and EQ the voice and add a little reverb and stuff. So the version that hits Audible and is available for purchase on Amazon.com is quite sexy. I'm not necessarily sexually attracted to my own voice, but my wife has said on multiple occasions that listening to me narrate the books does it for her. So let's get started, shall we? We are going to take it from the top. I'm going to kick on the recording. Oh, a couple things. If you do want to buy this book, it is down in the blue section of the screen, right below my face. There is a link there, garrettbrobinson.com/NB-3. That is where you can buy the book on all platforms. There's a button to buy it from me directly, which I would prefer because I get a majority percentage of the sale. If you buy it on Amazon, I only get 35 cents. Costs you the same, but to buy it from me, it just supports me a lot more as an indie author. And I will update that page with more buttons as it becomes available on more platforms. Right now, it's available direct, Amazon, and Kobo. In the future, it'll be on Nook, Barnes & Noble, iBooks, everywhere, basically. So there you go. And then the latest episode, the best place to find the latest episode of VlogaNovel. Oh, this is important. VlogaNovel is moving. I'm no longer going to be doing this on my regular YouTube channel. It is going to be happening on VlogaNovel's own YouTube channel, because my regular YouTube channel is where I do my podcasts and my daily vlogs, and mostly it's my daily vlogs, and those are quick, entertaining 4-minute videos about life, the universe, art, all that kind of crap, and people, go there for that, and then me doing 3 or 4 hour-long videos a day of writing and creating a book. That's just not what people go to the channel for. So there is a new YouTube channel. It is called VlogaNovel. Like if you go to youtube.com/user/VlogaNovel, it is there. So you should really go check that out and subscribe to that if you want to keep watching this. I'll keep sharing it on social media, but if you want to be a subscriber to the VlogaNovel experience, you need to go to the VlogaNovel YouTube page. It's just set up. There's nothing there. The first post on VlogaNovel, the YouTube channel, is going to be Nightblade episode 4. I started episode 3 here on this channel, so I'm going to wrap it up. And then episode 4 is going to take place on the VlogaNovel channel. So again, go there, subscribe to that, etc. And that's the best place to find new episodes, which publish multiple days out of the week. Ideally every day of the week. Honestly, sometimes I have to skip a day or two, and catch up into the late hours the next day. But enough of that. Let's get started here. Sound check. Sound check. Nightblade. Thingy, thingy, thingamajiggy. Yeah, okay, that sounds good. Living Art Books presents Nightblade, Episode 3 by Garrett Robinson. Shit. Living Art Books presents Nightblade, Episode 3, written and narrated by Garrett Robinson. You've been listening to Nightblade, Episode 3 by Garrett Robinson. For more of Garrett's books, visit garrettbrobinson.com. Well, that was easy. I always do the intro, outro first just because it's like, ba-dang. I've been thinking, I really want to add some music to the intro, outro, some like orchestral, like dun 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 dun, or maybe just some people in the background going dun 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 Dinklage, Peter Dinklage, Peter Dinklage, Peter Dinklage. But that is something I will have to work on. Yeah, let's get into chapter 1, shall we? First, we will save this. Dinklage, Peter Dinklage, Peter Dinklage, Peter Dinklage, Peter Dinklage, Peter Dinklage, Peter Peter. Can you not save? Plenty of space. Why? Oh, that's not good. Well, good thing I discovered that after trying to save the intro outro, not chapter 1. Living Art Books presents Nightblade, Episode 3, written and narrated by Garrett Robinson. You've been listening to Nightblade, Episode 3 by Garrett Robinson. For more of Garrett's books, visit garrettbrobinson.com. Okay, here's hoping this works. Hey, what do you know? So I always save the actual Audacity session, and then I also save, what do you call it? I export the audio file. It's not edited, it's not mixed, but I export that, and like when I'm tooling around in my car or, going from place to place, I can pull it up on my Dropbox on my phone and just like listen to it while I'm still working on the recording or the audio. It's just kind of nice to have it handy as a reference. Okay, let's do a new one. Close the old one. Oh, and so when I'm recording, you'll notice at the beginning of chapters, basically the book is serialized, and this is episode 3. However, it will also be published in volumes, and I work really hard to make it so that when you're reading it as individual episodes, it's a serialized experience, but that it also works as a complete volume. In other words, the first season isn't necessarily going to end on some gigantic cliffhanger. It's not going to be like typical serialized pieces, even like Realm Keepers. Realm Keepers ends with a moment of just like, what? Where you really want to read the second one. I want people to really want to read the second one, but I also want the first one to be its own book, like, you know, the Harry Potter series or something like that. So anyway, long story short, when I compile the audiobook for the first volume, the first 8 episodes taken as one whole, that is going to be volume 1, and it is going to have continuous chapters. I'm not going to break it up and say episode 1, chapter 1. You know, it's like it's just going to be chapter 1 through 40 because there's 5 episodes per 5 chapters per episode and 8 episodes. So when I start reading each chapter, you'll hear me go chapter 1 and then chapter 11. And that's why, is so that I have chapter 11 for later when I'm compiling the full audiobook, but I have chapter 1 for now. So had some questions on that last time. I should release a special edition, special drunk edition of the audiobook. Just get completely fucking hammered and narrate the Lauren pissed on his face. Chapter 1. Chapter 11. Surround the wagon. I don't like that voice at all. That's a shit voice. he had kind of a like a Jon Stewart old creepy person voice before, so try and get that but tone it down a little bit. Surround the wagon. The constable's thin, wheedling voice rang out. Off to a fantastic start. The constable's thin, wheedling voice rang out in the still air. Leave no gap for her to escape. Lauren feared she might vomit. If she had held any illusion of walking with Damaris outside the law, that illusion had now gone. She must flee as fast as she could, before the men could surround the wagon. She flung away the wooden panel that covered her. No one stood at the wagon's rear. She still had a chance. Just as she tensed to run, she had a drink and said, "You know what? Fuck it." Just as she tensed to run, a cry of alarm sounded from outside the wagon. It was Damaris. "She has fled!" cried Damaris. "Where did she go? Gregor?" "I know not, my lady," said the captain. "My men stood vigilant." "Vigilant as sleeping bears," snapped Damaris. "Find her, or it will go ill with all of you." Lauren stood rooted to the wagon's floor. No one stood near her wagon. What game did Damaris think to play? Lauren could not know, but she must place her faith in the merchant for the time being. Quick and quiet, she dropped back into the hidden space. Her fingers slid across the wood panel, and she winced as a splinter sank into her flesh. Silent as she could, she lowered it into place again. Not a moment too soon. Within seconds, the wagon shook under heavy feet. A man climbed into the wagon. A man climbed inside. She heard shouts further down the line. The lawmen had split up, searching the wagons in ones and twos. In a moment they would find Lauren, and then all would converge upon her. Whatever Damaris planned, Lauren hoped it would take place soon. The wood beneath her head shook with footsteps. Her breath came fast. The man grunted and heaved. The wood panel flew up to reveal her. Not the constable, but one of his riders. A gray mustache sat atop old, weathered lips, and deep lines creased his face from cheeks to eyes. Those eyes squinted at her for a moment, then widened. The man's chest erupted in a spray of blood, 12 inches of steel protruding from his breastbone. Lauren screamed. The man gurgled and sagged. His lifeblood soaked her, dousing her cloak. As he fell, she saw Gregor behind him. The giant's eyes shone cold and baleful, like the cold flame. The giant's eyes shone cold and baleful, like the blue flame of an ancient king's funeral pyre. His boot lashed out, kicking the man toward the front of the wagon. Outside she could hear the sounds of ringing steel and men crying out in death. The wagon's canvas could not mute the screams. Lauren feared she would hear them as long as she lived. Lauren leapt up and threw off her cloak. The blood had soaked through it in places, and she could feel it pressing upon her skin. She stumbled past Gregor, who did not move a muscle. She lost her footing on the wagon's edge and crashed to the ground on her shoulder. Pain lanced through her chest. She scarcely noticed it, as she rolled over onto her stomach and retched. The previous night's salted meat came up, thick and chunky and smelling of bile. She vomited until her stomach could give no more, and then she lay there unmoving and she vomited until her stomach could give no more, and then she lay there unmoving, except for her heaving chest. Lauren had seen death before. No one went forever without accidents. She had seen people crushed by falling oaks, people wasting away from infection after a wayward axe took a finger. But never had she seen a man killed in cold blood, stabbed through the back. The sounds of death subsided. Gregor's men had won before their foes even knew of the battle, and half a dozen— I'm not happy with that at all. Gregor's men had won before their foes even knew of the battle, and half a dozen corpses littered the ground. Soft footsteps drew Lauren's gaze upward. Damaris loomed. Her dark her dark eyes found Lauren's. Sometimes you get these weird audio pops just right in the middle of your line. Her dark eyes found Lauren's green ones. Ooh, that would be... Her dark eyes found Lauren's green ones. Whose blood stains your tunic? Lauren looked down at herself and saw the red streaks. For a moment her mind raced, and she could not remember how they had got there, but that lasted only a heartbeat. Why would... They were King's men! Cried Lauren. She tried to stand, but wobbly knees soon made her think better of it. Aye, and with noses far too keen, said Damaris. They would not have killed me, said Lauren. They did only their duty. Damaris's brow crinkled for a moment, and then she shook her head softly. Oh, simple child, you think too highly of your worth if you think I played this hand for you. You are an amusing companion, but I do not risk the king's wrath for amusement only. Lauren found the strength to stand, and slowly she gained her feet. Gregor appeared by his lady's side in the blink of an eye. His blade lay bare and blood-soaked. Lauren swayed backward to lean against the wagon. A quiet voice. A quiet and persistent voice. What in God's name is happening out there? So annoying. Neighbors, stop making noise. Don't you know I'm recording an audiobook? I have a feeling I didn't turn on comments. I hate when that happens. If you are watching live on YouTube, you can leave comments and I will see them and answer them live. A quiet, persistent voice screamed in the back of her mind, growing ever louder. Soon she could make out the words. A quiet, persistent voice screamed in the back of her mind, growing ever louder. Soon she could make out the words. Menet, Nightblade, Menet, Nightblade, Menet, Nightblade, you fool! For what, then? Said Lauren. For your hidden panels and your packages of brown cloth? What do you judge worth these lives, lives of men you did not know, who may leave widows or orphans behind? Damaris rolled her eyes. In that gesture Lauren saw a wealth of dismissal, a wide ocean of scorn and embarrassment. The 9 kingdoms make widows and orphans of us all in the end. They are the rule, and joyous folk the exception. Not needless do we spill blood, I said, but I did not say we feared to, or had not before. Lauren blanched. What of me, then? Do you mean to send me to the dark forest with them? Damaris shrugged. Why should I? Lauren did not know what madness seized her, but she needed to know the manner and meaning of what had happened. I have seen this. She gestured around at the corpses, unable to look. How could you let me live, fearing that I might reveal today's deeds? Do you mean to? Said Damaris. Rather than fear or anger, she showed only faint amusement. Lauren said nothing. She did not, though she could not for the life of her think why. Your Your wisdom is again a welcome surprise, said Damaris. If you think you could report this to the king's... If you think you could report this to the king's law and escape your own justice, you are sorely mistaken. These men died in part to keep safe my cargo, but, too, they died to protect you in your flight from the constables. You would face the block for that, and find your own way to the dark forest apace. None who walk shaded from the law may withstand its burning light. Lauren shuddered to hear the ghost of her own thoughts on the merchant's tongue. Now come, Damaris went on. I tire of this argument and its lack of purpose. You will help rid the ground of this mess. Gregor will instruct you. Lauren's knees grew weak. Me? I do not. I could not. Oh, not alone, said Damaris. Gregor's men will do the bulk of it, but you will help and learn something of value. Who knows but that you will need to dispose of a mess or two yourself one day? You will find it no worthless skill. Words leapt to Lauren's mind, words of denial, words of protest. Nightblade did not murder, nor would she. But those words died under Damaris's steely gaze. It's a glare, not a gaze, you fool. Nor would she. But those words... Mep. We have an unhappy child downstairs. I'm going to see if my wife needs me, and I may have to cut this short, although I really hope not. Sometimes it just gets a little bit much down there. She might be fine. We're gonna... Nope. Bollocks. Let's see. Well, we've recorded for more than a half hour. No, I think they're fine. All right. But those words died under Damaris's steely glare. Instead, Lauren bowed her head, and when Gregor summoned his men and set them to drag away the corpses by arms and legs, Lauren walked beside them. She watched the lifeless heads bouncing against the ground. The constable's face pinched thin and reedy, reminding Lauren of a squirrel. That's not going in the final audio. A thin, pathetic mustache clung to his upper lip, and that lip sat drowned in blood, probably summoned by the man's dying coughs. His chest lay open, and slimy ropes trailed behind him in the dirt. The others wore simple clothes, no uniforms. One of Gregor's men, too, had been killed. The bodies numbered 8 in all. Okay. Bodies numbered 8 in all. Gregor's men dragged them all into the woods. Lauren felt grateful she did not have to help with that. But once safely ensconced in the trees, Gregor's men set about with shovels and made Lauren work as well. The summer sun soon brought on a stench, and she retched twice more before they finished. The bodies they covered with loose dirt and a blanket of leaves, but only after they had been stripped. The bodies they covered with loose dirt and a blanket of leaves, but only after they had stripped the men of any coin. Other valuables they left in place. It seemed that the men held themselves higher than grave robbers, at least. Just before she had covered the last corpse, the thin clipping sound of hoofbeats rang out through the tall trunks. Lauren looked up to see Damaris atop her brown steed. Gregor went to her side at once, and took the reins as his lady dismounted. Damaris did not hesitate for a moment, but only made her way to Lauren. She had something under her arm. "Come now, and try this on," said Damaris. "I think you will find it your size. It will serve you well, and costs more than a forester's daughter might earn in a lifetime. She pulled out the thing beneath her arm and unfurled it. A black cloak fluttered in the afternoon's breeze. Had Lauren not been bone-weary with grave-digging and soul-sick from the rotting bodies, she might have gone breathless at the sight. The cloak fairly shone with fine cloth, and it shimmered with the sun. Each fold caught a ray of light and absorbed it, never appearing brighter but only growing darker. Its cowl Each fold caught a ray of light and absorbed it, never appearing brighter, but only growing darker. Its cowl stretched long, able to draw down almost to the wearer's chin. Lauren stood immobile. Damaris waited for a moment, then stepped forward. She draped the cloak around Lauren's shoulders. Then Damaris came around her front again and drew the Then Damaris came around her front again and drew the cowl up. The cloak rested on Lauren's shoulders like a cloud, the cowl at once warm and pleasantly airy. She felt a light breeze kiss the back of her neck. Now I... Yep, that's why you tune in to VlogaNovel. Listen to audiobook recordings with big fat beer belches right in the middle. Books and beer, baby. Now I am cloaked in shadow. That is completely the wrong delivery. Damn it, Garrett, get it together. Guys, I have a lot of attention on my family downstairs, so we're so close to the end of the chapter. Yeah, it sounds like Megan is having Yeah, sounds like Megan is having a little bit of a time with the kids. So we've recorded for a half hour. I'm going to bail, go down, help with that. I will come back as soon as I can to complete the audiobook recording. She's going to be taking the kids out for a little excursion before too long. So I will end off for here for now, and see you later today. This has been VlogaNovel. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Oh, scratch that. Don't forget to go to youtube.com/VlogaNovel. The show will be moving to its own YouTube channel so that the videos are not, populating my whole feed. So if you want to keep seeing VlogaNovel episodes, go to youtube.com/VlogaNovel. Subscribe there. Videos will be coming very shortly, starting with the next episode of Nightblade. If you want to buy this book, which I certainly hope you do, you can find it in the link in the blue section of the screen, GarrettBRobinson.com/NB-3. And if you haven't read the first episode yet, that link is at the bottom of the blue section of the screen. I will see you guys later. I'm going to go save my wife from the screaming babies. Bye.